All right, we also have Mr. A.K. Tiwari, MD of State Bank of India, joining us to talk more about the policy. Mr. Tiwari, morning. Thank you so much for your time. As much as I'm tempted to talk to you about SBI, look at the way stock is rallying, good 7% today. And we hear marquee investors are just logging in. I'll hold myself back and put the spotlight on policy. There's a positive surprise, which is very confident RBI, very gradually upping the growth view. In fact, ahead of the street, many of the agencies have their growth view slightly lagging. But at the same time, a governor appears very cautious and steadfast on the inflation target. What did you make of today's commentary out of these two issues?
So I think the governor has been really consistent in his approach. At no point in the several policies which have come in the last months or year has he ever ventured to predict too much. He has very clearly said every single time that our aim is to control inflation. And today also he made it clear that till the inflation comes to the 4% band in a durable manner, we will continue with the stance or the policy we have. So in that sense, he also kind of put a little bit of a, if I may say, a dampener on the expectations of second quarter, third quarter, etc., etc. And I think that's a right approach because policies have to be really consistent, stable, and all market participants like a stable policy. So as long as the objective is clear, and he also mentioned that the growth, they had prioritized inflation over growth because he said inflation control, low inflation is a prerequisite for a stable and sustainable growth. However, the growth has also been good. So in that sense, it's going well. But it's the role of the governor to actually always caution the market that yes, things are good, but keep watch out, and we will keep watching. And if warranted, we will take action. So that's the sense I got.
And the other thing, this policy, everybody was watching out for mention of or some kind of either short-term or near-term liquidity measures, because that appears to be becoming a bit of an irritant for bankers, for corporates. On the one hand, deposit growth is actually lagging credit growth, and deposit rates have to be kept high to compromise either on the margin front, on the growth front. In fact, a lot of money is also seem to be coming out of FDs going to financialization. How this bit of near-term issue for the industry?
Yes, this is an issue because you rightly mentioned that there are alternates available in terms of mutual funds and equity markets where a lot of money from the retail depositors is going because the markets are doing well, they are getting good returns. And at the same time, the loan growth is outpacing the deposit growth for last several quarters now, almost close to a year and a half. And in many cases, the CD ratios of some of the banks are also very high, upwards of 100 or close to 100%. So in that sense, to support the loan growth, clearly the deposits, which have been a major source of loan growth, loan financing for the banks, there is a pressure on the deposit rates. And that's why we see that the deposit rates have been growing. And maybe in the near future also, depending on each bank's own asset liability management, they could still go further if the loan growth continues like this. So that's one side of the story. And of course, there are banks who are forced to do short-term borrowing also because sometimes for mismatches. And those rates have also been volatile at the shorter end. So therefore, while no special dispensation has been given on liquidity, he did mention that one, that they will use all tools as appropriate for ensuring that the liquidity is stable. And secondly, also mentioned that this is the last quarter and government spending generally picks up in the last quarter to account for various budgeted items which are there. And that's our expectation also, that as the government spending increases in the last quarter, the liquidity will get some support at the shorter end as well.
Fair point. So it's just a matter of time. This industry forces may actually come back and address that issue on its own probably. But banks are kind of slipping right now in trade, and there was some heightened expectation, something on liquidity may come. Just one last word I want your view on, Mr. Tiwari. The additional measures, this policy announcement, far more interesting than the actual policy, especially announcement, a review required for the structure of the way online trading platforms are operating. That one, and also the need for enhanced transparency on SME loans. What are your thoughts on these two? Why were this on the regulator's radar? Are there some practices out there which require much more transparent and review?
So electronic trading platform, I don't have any comments
Oh,
because
sure.
clearly he mentioned the last review was in 2018. So there could be some improvements which the RBI must have felt. On the charges front, I think there are two facets to this. One is that it is being extended to all products in MSME and retail. So that is one, which is okay. And the second part is, that's my sense, because I have to still read the full details, that we do disclose interest rate plus all these charges, including processing charge, upfront charge, documentation, everything separately. And in fact, in our bank, we have created what is called a unified charge, includes all charges, so that the borrower has a clear idea that this is my final charge. And now probably what he wants for retail and the MSME borrowers is that this charge plus interest rate on an annualized basis, what does it look like, so that it is comparable across different banks? Because for our retail customers, sometimes hard to understand what my final cost is going to be. So that's my sense. But I'll read. But I think one other announcement which is very significant, and which people have not realized, is the fact about the additional factors of authentication framework. Because as you mentioned, the SMS-based OTP is the predominant mode, and we have had a lot of instances where this has been compromised by various fraudsters. So I think the newer alternatives which have been emerging, I think that's a very, very important thing. And to actually stay ahead of the fraudsters, I think we need to shift to some of the other alternates which I was mentioning. So that is also interesting in my view.
Mr. Tiwari, in fact, rising fraud risk, he was clearly mentioning it on Aadhaar link payment, which is very important to be reviewed. Thank you very much for your time. We will definitely put the spotlight and analyze these important cues also which you've given via your answers. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Market, meanwhile, is falling very sharply. In fact, not only the market, the State Bank and other PSU bank, which had also run up quite a lot, came off their highs, and that is because no outright announcement on liquidity actually came in, which was by far the most important point. This policy and their expectations were really high. But as Mr. Tiwari and Governor also said earlier in the day, that this is just about a quarter. Governor has clearly mentioned that this is just about a quarter when the seasonality in the system will start addressing liquidity requirements on its own. But they will, of course, I'm assuming, will review the situation on an ongoing basis. We'll take a short break, come back, more stocks-based analysis on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
Hello and welcome. You have tuned into Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. I'm Shrishti Sharma, and with me as always is Cheryl D'Souza. And viewers, this is the show where you get answers for all your stock-related queries. In a short while from now, you will get this opportunity. But before that, a quick look at the markets. It was indeed a big day, Cheryl. There was the RBI MPC meet. No change in stance, no change in the repo rates, but the markets are taking it on the chin. Nifty down 200 points.
Absolutely, Shrishti, that's the way how the markets are looking like actually. No measures also coming in, also kind of has not gone down well. With the markets looks like it, as you can see it on your screen, the Nifty at the day's lowest point or near the day's lowest point, 0.9% downtick coming in for the Nifty Bank. That one also is seeing a sharper cut. If you look at Nifty, it's down about 1.3% from day's high. Ditto coming in for Nifty Bank as well. Has fallen in excess of about 1% from the day's highest point. So that's the way how the markets are looking like at this point in time. Let's take a look at which are the sectors or which are the stocks that are actually reeling under pressure. And if you look at the list of gainers, only a handful of gainers right now. You only have 7 stocks or 8 odd stocks on the Nifty that are gaining, while on the losing end, you have Britannia, Tata Consumer, Axis Bank, Nestle, Eicher Motors, all of them actually seeing a downtick, with Tata Consumer and Nestle actually reacting to its earnings. In fact, the consumption pack is actually taking it a bit easy, or rather interest rate sensitives, you could say, are taking it a bit easy in today's trading session. If you look at the advanced decline ratio, after a while, you've actually seen the advanced decline ratio tilted very much in the favor of the declines just in the early days of or early hours of trading session. Talking about the list of gainers then on the sectoral front is the PSU Bank Index that's holding the fort strong as of now. 2% uptick coming in for the PSU Bank Index. You saw SBI actually seen a jump of as much as 6%. Now it's cooled off. SBI is seeing an uptick of as much as 3% or 4% or so. You also have the broader markets that are holding on to a shade of green right now. But on the flip side is the FMCG index. That's the top loser, sectoral loser, 1.3% downtick coming for FMCG index. You have the auto index also that is down about 1.1%. You have banks, like I mentioned, is down, as well as the auto sector. And the other realty plays also are taking a bit easy. So interest rate sensitives in particular, actually, Shrishti, are taking a bit easy in trade today.
All right, that's the market picture as of now. But with this, let's also connect with our experts and know their take on the policy, as well as in a short while, we will start taking all your stock-related queries as well, viewers. So you can start writing to us as well. But before that, let me welcome on board Vivek Karwa on the fundamental side, as well as Kunal Bothra is also joining us. Vivek, first of all, what do you make out of the MPC meet, as well as of now, at least the private sector banks are reeling under pressure, but the public sector banks are holding up well. So what's your sense coming in on that?
Shrishti, I think the reaction is overdone, because there would be no changes in the interest rates slabs. That was an expected thing in the market already. And with the kind of noises even the Fed is making, it is very, very clear that the world banks across the globe, the central banks across the globe, and in particular RBI is very, very cautious and conservative bank. So they would not like to just jump the ship and suddenly start cutting rates, which again could spike up inflation rates. So more sensible policy. I think they are going with wait and watch policy over here. And as even Nirmala Sitharaman, the finance minister, told yesterday, that we are in between the comfortable range of 2 to 6% inflation. So if there is no big say increase from here, they might just hold on the rates. And if there is real good dip, only then they might start cutting the rates. So till the elections are over, till the elections in America are over, I don't think any big changes in the interest rates are going to happen.
All right, so that's the view coming in from Vivek when it comes to the monetary policy and what exactly has transpired and how the markets are reacting to that. But on that note, let's kickstart with taking all of the stock-related query, viewers. You can write to us on the number that will be flashing on your screen. And this is a show where we get your answers from our experts for your stock-related queries. And talking about our experts, as Shrishti has already introduced, we have Kunal Bothra as well as Vivek Karwa. And let's get started with all the queries that are already pouring in, actually. And this one is coming in from a viewer, I think Prathamesh. He's writing to us from Mumbai. And this one is for you, Kunal. Hudco is the stock that he's asking the query on. He has about 300 shares of Hudco at a price of 155 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should hold or book profits in this particular counter. His time horizon is about 6 months.
I think it's a good time to book profits over here for Hudco, because the stock has now come back towards a point where the divergence from its 200 moving average is quite steep. I think that could be a concern for the stock in the near to medium term. So typically when we say stocks diverge from the long-term moving averages by a margin of say 40 to 50%, that seemed to be a stretch. In case of Hudco, the 200 DM is at 84 rupees, the stock is at 197, which means a divergence of more than 100% for the stock in that kind of a time span. So I think it's a good strategy to try and book out profits over here, wait out for a significant phase of correction, and then look to re-enter again.
All right, moving on. And Vivek, what's your take coming in on NBCC? The stock has been on the move, and Sridhar from Bangalore has been holding the shares from a price of 105 rupees. Can he continue holding it for the next 12 to 18 months as well? And what's your take on Tata Motors at this point in time? Would you still suggest a buy in this one?
See, NBCC, after the interim budget, I think the stock should continue doing well. Though the valuations are quite high, it's no way cheap at 75 PE. But what I feel is because of the budget allocations on the infra side and the push on the reality space side, housing for everybody. So this sector is going to continue doing well. So you might not have good returns over that is next 6 months, but yes, it's a hold. Tata Motors, I feel the valuations at these levels are much more, say, at premium compared to peer group like Ashok Leyland. So what I feel is, even if you're going to book slow and steady profits in Tata Motors, it would not be a big issue. I think you should book profits at times. And last 3-4 years, it has moved up 10 times. So I would not be that bullish on Tata Motors.
Moving on, this one is coming in from Vinu, who's writing to us from Chennai and wants to know whether it makes sense to do a fresh entry in AI engineering and power industries right now. Right now, Vivek is a long-term investor. He's saying the stocks are going through a bit of correction, so now is the time to enter them for the longer term?
See, I would prefer, if you are really looking at power sector, I would prefer PSU power companies, even now, companies like Power Grid and even NTPC. NTPC, I remember I've spoken on your show at 140, 160 levels. So since then, I'm bullish on this stock. But I think PSU companies would continue doing well because even after the run-up, I think the dividend yields, which were 7-8%, have become now 2-3%. That's the only difference. So compared to private, I think stocks like Power Grid, NTPC, this looks good.
Coming to you, Kunal, for the next query. This one is from Prakash from Jaipur, and he is holding 200 shares of Bajaj Finserv and his buying price is 1700 rupees. He's okay holding it for the next couple of years as well. What to do in this one? Should he book loss or continue to hold on?
See, longer term wise, of course, Bajaj Finserv looks attractive, but I'm not really sure whether in an immediate time frame the stock can do anything great as such. The concern for the stock which is emerging, so I think Bajaj Finance is a peer. I think that stock has already confirmed a break below the 200 moving average. Bajaj Finserv is about to break below the 200 DMA. If I'm not wrong, the 200-day moving average is at 1560 rupees, 1560, and the stock is at 1575. Which means if the stock closes below 1560 mark, we could be looking at a further sell-off, which could come back into Bajaj Finserv. So near-term charts look a bit tricky for the stock. Long-term charts are attractive, but I believe that if the stock falls below the 200 moving average, there could be a correction of at least another 100 to 150 points further. So hold on, but don't look to average further. Average only if the stock corrects by a margin of at least 10% below the long-term moving average.
All right, on that note, we will slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. When we come back, we'll continue taking your query, viewers, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. Let's continue taking all of his stock-related queries then. And this one is coming from Lakshmanan, who is a senior citizen, writing to us from Bangalore. And apologies, Mr. Lakshmanan, we've not been able to take your queries earlier. Kunal, this one is for you. He wants to know if there's any chance of HDFC Bank revival from the present market, while so many other private and PSU banks have staged a good recovery, but HDFC Bank is still lagging. And same is for Asian Paints. So he wants to know any scope of either of them actually making a comeback. He's a long-term investor. He wants to know what sort of a call should he take.
See, the concern again with both the charts are very same, which I pointed out in the previous query, that both the stocks, Asian Paints as well as HDFC Bank, both of them are reeling below their long-term moving averages. Now, just to give an example, the 200 DMA for HDFC Bank is at 1575, rather 1596, and the stock currently is at 1400, 1410, which means that the stock first has to break past about the 1595 mark or 1600 mark as such to try and negate the kind of pessimism the stock is going through, and that's where we would probably get to see a better round of opportunities on the upside for HDFC Bank. Same is the case with Asian Paints. I think the 200 moving average for the stock is at a point about the 3,100, 150 mark. So you can go for a contra buy at current levels, but my only concern is the waiting period, which the stock may probably give because of the way the near-term charts are aligned for both of the stocks, HDFC Bank and Asian Paints.
Moving on to the next query then, and the next query is on DCB Bank Vivek, and the viewer named Ram is holding 300 shares of DCB Bank at a price of 131 rupees. The stock did made a move till 160. He didn't book out his profits, and once again back to its cost price. What to do next? Is that an exit at this point in time, or can he buy more?
This is again a similar story to what was happening in RBL Bank Srishti earlier. So the bank results were bad, and then slowly it looks like that bank is out of problems and the stock would start recovering. And before a real solid recovery, what happens is the stock moves up, and then there is some profit booking by those who have stuck last many years. And then again the stock comes down, and then you'll again see a uptrend. So what I feel is you should hold it on right here. The valuations are looking quite decent. They are not at all costly compared to if you look at RBL or any other bank. So stock should do well. Yeah, waiting period, I don't know. Will it take 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year? But yes, the stock can move from here.
All right, that's the take coming in on the query. The next one is coming in from a viewer who has UPL, about 2,000 shares at an average price of 630 rupees per share, holding for the last 1 year, down by about 30%. Can he continue to hold on for the next 1 year? Or should he look to exit at current levels or average? Kunal, what's your take? I know we spoke about UPL yesterday also.
Yeah, and the view still remains the same that the stock has been reeling below the long-term moving average. 750 was the point of breakdown for the stock in 2023 start, and from there the stock just kept on falling. Even if you look at from that point of time, the stock has formed a consistent pattern of lower highs and lower lows. So it's very difficult to anticipate that when would the stock actually form a bottom for itself and then start to show signs of recovery. So maybe you can just hope that things could turn around for the stock over the near to medium term, but I am not extremely bullish or gung-ho on the prospects for UPL over the near to medium term.
Vivek, the next query is from Padma Seva Rao, and he wants to know, is this a good time to enter into Geo Financials?
Say on your channel and your sister channel, I was talking about the stock at 220 levels, that the target should be 300. I think you should buy. If you really have time to give, maybe a year, you should buy. We will someday suddenly hear that SEBI has given approval for the mutual fund businesses. They have already started the lending business, and the kind of penetration company has, the stock should cross 300 levels as well. And they also have access to huge client, almost 24 crore client base through the Reliance Retail and the Geo Mobile. So this also is going to be a big advantage for the company. So you should buy for longer term.
Okay, this one is coming in for you, Vivek, from Vishwanathan Nair. He wants to know whether it makes sense to enter UPL, GMM Fordler, or BLS e-services, which got listed just yesterday.
So BLS yesterday, I would wait in that wait and watch approach. But UPL, say, great company, great business, but not doing that. So that should be a avoid. And the third company was, I don't.
The third company, actually, I also missed that query. Okay, GMM Fordler is the third
GMM
company.
Fordler. Okay. GMM Fordler is a good company. If you really look at auto ancillary, and if you think that long term, if you're ready to wait, I think this company should do well. And compared to other auto ancillary companies and even the chemical space, it's a diversified company. You will find that the valuations are much more compared to GMM. So 34, 35 P is quite reasonable. I think you should hold it on.
That's the take coming in on GMM Fordler. But with this, viewers, it's time to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Back to Buy Now, Sell Now, show where we get you answers for all your stock-related queries. And continuing the same, the next query, let me take it from you, Vivek. This one is from Marsha Nayak, and she wants to know, is this a good time to buy Nesco or BEL at current market price? She wants to stay invested for the next 2 to 3 years.
Shrishti, Nesco, first of all, as a disclosure, it is there in my personal portfolio and have been recommending it to all the clients since it was at 550 levels. And I think it is still a strong buy. The realty play in the company has still not shown its true colors, and the kind of business it is doing is superb, with almost 3 sectors: exhibitions, hospitality, and IT parks. So hold it on. Nesco would be my top favorite right now among these two stocks.
This one is coming in from Shrikant, who's writing to us from Hyderabad. Kunal, this one is for you. He's holding Birla Soft 200 shares at a price of around 451 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should hold or book profits, or what sort of a strategy should he hold in this particular counter. He's making hefty profits in this one.
Yeah, I think phenomenal gains for the viewer. I think the stock is now almost at 850 or 840 levels, if I'm not wrong. Exceptional chart the stock has gone through. Now it's very difficult to try and suggest that whether the stock is going to get into a breakdown mode or not. But since you bought at lower levels, you have a buffer. I would probably suggest that keep a trailing stop loss, because what could probably happen is that the stock may give you a false or minor correction. But then if the uptrend, the long-term uptrend resumes, then the stock may probably hit even the 4-digit mark for itself. So I would suggest keep a trailing stop loss. Maybe 740, which is the 50-day moving average, could be a trailing stop loss as of now for Birlasoft.
Kunal, the next query is for you. This one is from Vidya, who's a short-term trader and looking for a fresh investment in Coromandel International. Is this a good price point to enter for longs, or the downtrend can continue in this one? What's your take?
I think you should look to avoid the taking a long position over here. Now, two concerns. One is that the stock is today back again below the 200 moving average. The second and the more important or more prominent one is, I think last week or end of January, 30th of Jan, if I'm not wrong, there was this very sharp selling candle for Coromandel, and the stock had fallen below the 200 moving average. That was in the back of some extremely high volumes for the stock. Post that, it's seen a minor rally, but it's unable to surpass above the previous highs of 1150 mark, which was the initial point of the sell-off for Coromandel. So that means that the selling pressure would still remain intact into the stock price. Keep 1150 as a trigger. So in case if the stock, say over the next couple of weeks, continues to rally, and if it breaks past about 1150 mark, that should be a more comfortable point for you to buy, expecting that the stock would probably have turned around and ended the bearish phase of correction for itself.
This one is for you, Vivek. Meena is asking whether she can look to enter JSW Infra, Jindal Drilling, or even for the matter of fact, Nureka right now. JSW Infra is the stock, Jindal Drilling as well as Nureka. Do you think either of these counters make sense to go ahead and invest right now for the longer term?
I think JSW Infra should be good, Shiril. See, again, as I said, if you look at the interim budget, last year, why did these stocks do really well? Why did the infra do well? Because there was almost like 10 lakh crores allocation in the budget. And this time it is like 11 lakh point 11 crore budget target. So all these companies are going to benefit over next 5 years if the same government continues and the budget estimates are really spent. So long term, yes. Short term valuations look costly. These stocks might happen that you will get stuck like Asian Paints or HDFC for some time, but then eventually you will make money.
Right. The next query is for you, Kunal. This one is from Dr. Subhaya, and he has shared a long list, but I'm afraid we can't take these many queries at once. Let me take on Bandhan Bank. He's holding 100 shares at a price of 230 rupees. What are the prospects of this particular counter, and what should be the strategy since he's at a mild losses in this one?
Continue to hold on, but don't look to add positions. Bandhan Bank is a chart which I think only about 260 levels looks a lot more comfortable in terms of the price patterns. The concern which happens is when a stock trades below the resistance point or the breakout point, the bigger concern is that how much time will the stock take to try and recover, and that too at a point where the Bank Nifty is already as an underperforming sector and an index for the markets. So these are concerns which arise for the stock and the sector every now and then. My sense is that the stock may drag from here on. So I think currently the stock is at 215 to 20 levels. It may continue to trade to this range of 215 to 20 mark pivot range, say over the next couple of months. But I think only about 260 levels is where there could be a lot of confidence as well as a confirmation of a breakout.
All right, this one has come from Kumar, who's writing to us from Mysore for you, Kunal. Equitas, a small finance bank. He got this at IPO price, about 600 shares. He wants to know if he can stay put with this, and what sort of target do you have in mind for Equitas Small Finance Bank?
From 2021-22, when I think it was almost at 40-45 odd rupees, towards the point where recently the stock made a high of closer to 114-15 mark for itself. Currently, the stock has come back towards a mild mean reversion. 50-day moving average approximately is where the stock is trading right now, and the sell-off is very staggered, which means that it's minor correction on the way up for Equitas Small Finance Bank. I would suggest hold on to the stock, and on the upside keep a target. Say if the previous highs of 115 gets taken out, you could be looking at a potential target of at least 130 for the stock in a very short kind of a time span.
All right. The next query is, let me take it from you, Vivek. This one is on NMDC Steel, and Krishnan wants to know that can he go ahead and invest rupees 20,000 in this one for the next 1 year? What's your take on this one? Since for the past couple of days, metal counters are buzzing, and at this point in time, do you believe that it has the valuation comfort?
It does have valuation comfort, but I still feel that you should be in better metal companies like Nalco. Now, steel.
Just now will come down drastically. We have a domestically produced alkaline electrolyzer, plus all the other collaborations which are taking place. You are spending today $180 billion on fossil fuel energy imports. Just imagine if the cost comes down and you divert that to green energy use. It's a revolutionary change. So I see in the years to come, India has positioned itself in the center of the global energy story. Why? Number one, India is where the demand increase takes place. In the next 2 decades, 25% of the increased demand will come from India. Number two, India is transitioning to green energy in biofuels, compressed biogas, in green hydrogen. And most important, I think India is demonstrating technical, innovative solutions which have a very high replicability in the countries of the global south.
So, alternate fuel sources, various alternate fuel sources, and use of AI in the energy sector have been major discussion points. Any final outcome?
Alternate sources to ho gaya, green hydrogen, which is the fuel of the future. But uske beech mein biofuels, that's an alternate source. Then you have compressed biogas. So,
Major collaboration on this.
कोलैब हम तो इंडियन कंपनीज बना रही हैं इसको तो ये तो हमारी एक कंपनी है जिसने 1000 प्लांट 100 कंट्रीज में किया पराज इंडस्ट्रीज इन पुणे सो दैट इज द बायोफ्यूल दैट इज इंडिजिनसली प्रोड्यूस ये जो आईओसीएल वाले इन्होंने सेकंड जनरेशन प्लांट पानीपत पे लगाया वो इंडिजिनस प्लांट है वो पराली से बना था उनका जो थर्ड जनरेशन प्लांट है जिसमें वो रिफाइनरी में जो वेस्ट गैसेज होती है उनसे बना उसमें फॉरेन कोलैबोरेशन सो इंडियन ग्रोथ स्टोरी इज अ डोमेस्टिक ग्रोथ स्टोरी
In order to meet the growing demand, Indian companies are expanding their refining base. You have also mentioned about the 25% demand will come from India. So any specific collaboration that has taken place?
Collaborations are taking place all the time. There are outside elements who want to, outside entities who want to invest here. A little while ago, when I became minister, there was talk about BPCL, this investment. Once I looked at it and I saw the strength there, I said it would be crazy for us to disinvest BPCL. Today is one of the most successful companies. That alkaline electrolyzer that I mentioned has been produced between BPCL and BARC.
So this summit is also taking place at a time where some disruption in Red Sea. Has this also come into discussion?
You see, whenever there is a disruption anywhere due to non-state actors in particular, there is a little bit of anxiety. But you've been here since the first day, I've been here. I have not seen any, how do I put it, the events in one part of the world or the other part casting any shadow on us. Not at all.
Sir, आपके पास आपने कई several meetings भी किए अभी हम बाहर गुयाना के मिनिस्टर से भी बात कर रहे थे कुछ इस तरह के हिंट्स दे रहे थे कि वहाँ पे इंडिया के जो एनर्जी नीड्स हैं जो सिक्योरिटी है उसके पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से कंपनीज वहाँ पे इंटरेस्ट दिखाएंगी उसमें कुछ स्पेसिफिक
देखिए मैं ऐसा हमेशा ऐसी मीटिंग होती है जो बाकी दुनिया से सीईओज आते हैं सब बायलैटरल मीटिंग्स चाहते हैं और हम कर देते हैं तो हमने बड़ी चीज़ें डिस्कस की गायना के साथ तो हमारी पुरानी लंबी चर्चा उनके राष्ट्रपति भी आए थे भारत उनके उपराष्ट्रपति भी आए थे उनसे बात हो रही है सो कोलैबोरेशन इन डिफरेंट फील्ड्स उनको फर्टिलाइजर प्लांट में मदद करने के लिए उनके यहाँ रिफाइनरी की कुछ इम्प्रूवमेंट करने के लिए लॉन्ग टर्म ऑयल के लिए सब दीज आर ऑनगोइंग डिस्कशंस
एक पॉइंट ये दिख रहा है इस पूरे समिट के दौरान मैं आखिरी क्वेश्चन से पहले पूछना चाहूँगा सर पेट्रोनेट एलएनजी का जो एक्सटेंशन हुआ कतार एनर्जी जी उसके अलावा कोई बड़े डील्स इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे नहीं हुए तो
देखिए बड़े डील्स की भी तो बात होती है ये नहीं कि यहाँ पे डिस्कशन शुरू हो गया ये पेट्रोनेट के साथ जो कतार की डील है ये बहुत महीनों से चली है यहाँ पे कई ऐसी डिस्कशंस हुई हैं कुछ अनाउंस होंगी यहाँ पे कुछ आप 2 महीने बाद देखेंगे 3 महीने बाद क्योंकि 4 दिन की मीटिंग में आप अपने जो डायलॉग है उसको यू कैन टेक इट फॉरवर्ड. There is no pressure to culminate it. There are many MOUs we signed, Global Biogas Alliance के साथ बहुत चीजें, बहुत काम हो रहा है. पर अगर आप टेक अवे देखिए, हाइड्रोजन, फर्स्ट ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन बस, domestically produced electrolyzer, domestically produced rig, okay, and that company is providing 20 such rigs, or has provided 20 such rigs. But more than that, you see the entire ecosystem. क्या क्या काम हुआ है, अलग कंपनीज ने अलग जगह में काम किया है, and they showcase it here, and that is what is work in progress.
So there are some reports that the OMCs have again started making losses on sale of diesel. Their profit.
ये आप OMCs को इतना ज्यादा भी मत करिए. इनका वो कहीं मैंने पढ़ा कि डीजल पे 3 रुपए लॉस. देखिए ये प्रॉफिट लॉस थोड़ा बहुत चलता रहता है. आप उनसे पूछिए आपके 3 पिछले क्वार्टर की अर्निंग्स क्या थी, फिर वो जवाब देंगे तो फिर हम आपसे बैठेंगे. अगर चौथा टोटल अच्छा हो तो आई डोंट थिंक दैट टू वरीड. पर आप में से कोई उनको ओब्लाइज कर देता है कोई एक ऐसी स्टोरी लिख के कि डीजल पे 3 रुपए की अंडर रिकवरी हो रही है, वो कैलकुलेशन भी देख लेना एक बार अच्छी तरह.
So क्या उम्मीद है आने वाले टाइम?
मैं स्पेकुलेट नहीं करता हूँ. मैं यही कहता हूँ अगर इन भारत की इकोनॉमी की पहले 3 क्वार्टर में 7.6% ग्रोथ हुई है, चौथा क्वार्टर भी अच्छा चलेगा, कंपनीज भी अच्छे रिजल्ट दिखाएंगे, तो प्राइवेट पब्लिक सेक्टर बहुत खुद ही करना चाहेंगे. पर देखेंगे, अभी कोई मैं स्पेकुलेट नहीं करता. अभी थोड़ा टेंशन एरियाज है वहाँ पे, रेड सी में बाकी चीज़ें हैं, तो दैट इज द बॉटम लाइन.
थैंक यू सो मच.
That's the Petroleum Minister, Oil Minister Hardeep Singh Puri being very candid about India, saying that India is transitioning into the green energy space. India's growth story is the domestic story. He also did speak about BPCL, the Petronet LNG deal with Qatar, saying that that deal was in works for many months. So that was an exclusive conversation with the Oil Minister, but we're afraid that we are out of time in this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. Thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Vivek, for joining us on the show, being patient and also answering all of the stock-related queries. And viewers, with that, we are totally out of time on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. It's a goodbye from Srishti, myself, and the team that put the show together. Stay tuned. Markets at Noon is coming up next.